Hi everyone. This is part of my series of presentations on using digital marketing in industrial space to get more leads and generate more business for you. So the title of this presentation is to turn an interested person into an ideal client using your specialized knowledge of your niche product or service that you're offering to industry. Now, in my previous presentations, I showed that digital marketing in industrial space is part of an entire ecosystem. It's not just a website. And what I'm going to focus on particularly here is the landing page, or rather should I state lead magnet funnel, where a landing page is part of it. So let me just show the basic idea. The basic idea is you would run an ad on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Google, and what you typically would do is you would drive the prospect from the ad to your landing page. Now, typically what you would do in an industrial setting is that you want to just initiate that contact with a person that can become a ideal paying client for you. So in the industrial space, you typically would think about it is that it's a person with an interest in your product to solve an industrial problem. So if you've got a digital asset that you can offer to that interested party to make his life easier, you would have him very likely filling in his details. Now, the idea being is on a landing page is that you would get into filling these details, and if you remember my previous slide, I just showed that it was part of a greater ecosystem, because once he's filled in these details, you can start nurturing the interested party into other things. You can email him your case studies that you've got, new product offerings, new innovations on your products or services, things like that. And once he's entered his details, he'll click the button. You'd email him his lead magnet, and then you typically have a thank you page. And yeah, you really warm up the relationship a bit further by being courteous and nice and friendly. In this case here, another free resource is offered to the client. It's almost like you've seen these ads, but that's not all. You're giving the person what he's asked for, but you're going to try and almost overwhelm him with the quality that you want to give, your willingness to want to serve him. By the way, that was something about sales that helped me a heck of a lot, is that the Latin for sales is actually serving. So it's not about trying to be a second-hand car salesman. Sales is about serving. Let the person that's got the need meet the product that can help that need. And that's what sales is really about. Anyway, I was digressing. Now, a lead magnet, there was a study done by True Marketing, and they specialize in engineers in terms of how to do this industrial marketing. And in their survey study, there is different types of information an engineer or technical people are willing to complete their details for. You can see one of the most popular is a webcast. And I must say, and you've probably experienced this already, is with the lockdown, how much webinars have improved and accelerated and are being used. In actual fact, I'm even seeing it in my LinkedIn feeds, and it's for a reason that is happening. So a webinar is extremely useful piece of content to put in front of an engineer. You can do it initially live, but then what the beauty of that is that a webinar gives you so much information that you can start using it to create blog articles. You can edit the video, you can send the video later, not as a live webinar, and so it's got multiple uses. So a webcast is really a very good idea to cast your business as a thought leader in your niche market. So I really encourage you to do webinars. A lot of effort, but worth doing. Then typically engineers and technical people are looking for product information. You can do white papers, trade publications, or articles in trade publications. So you can just refer a client to there, or have a copy of it on your website, or give it to the person. Case studies and how-to videos, you can see, is also pretty popular. product demos, industry surveys, online communities. That is something I also would encourage you to do, is to create online communities. You can do that on LinkedIn and even Facebook. The funny thing is, Facebook, one of the biggest media companies in the world, or advertising companies, advertise for people to create Facebook groups because they want to create that worldwide communities even on their platform. So it could be something fairly lucrative for you to investigate as well. But just coming to, and as I said, we were talking about a lead magnet funnel, and one of the major components is that central landing page. Now, a landing page is different from a home page. It's and I've got some pictures here, and you can see a normal website is pretty busy. You've got a lot of navigation bars at the top and other buttons the person can push. And the reason for, whereas a landing page typically has only one button, and the reason is the objectives of these things are very different. You can see that objectives to direct the visitor to relevant content. So in actual fact, when a person comes to a home page, you want him to almost, spend a little bit of time on your home page. And the reason for that is that Google actually notices it and says, your web page is actually quite useful, so because the people are staying. I'm going to give you extra quality points, and those extra quality points are very useful to drive you higher onto the search engine results page. Now, if you can imagine, if you're above your competitor on the search engine results page, let's say you're at page 1 as opposed to page 10, I think it is a very good piece of real estate to be in your particular niche. A landing page is different. It delivers the requested content. So you would be putting an ad in front of a person, as you could say, some free guide or whatever. Then the landing page is fill in your details, push the button to receive what you asked for. The visitor intent is fairly broad. On a home page, you almost want to introduce the person to the ethos of your company, everything you can do, how fantastic you are. Whereas on a landing page, it's very specific, that one thing that you're offering. The traffic sources for a homepage is numerous. It could be the search engines as such, and also, let's say one engineer tells another engineer of your great business, and he directly puts your website address in. So that is basically why the sources are varied. A landing page is typically you run a specific Facebook or Google ad campaign or an ad roll campaign. You run it to guide the person, to drive them to your landing page to take that specific resource from you. Then, as you can see, there's a lot of navigation buttons on a website. A landing page typically has only one, and then you probably just have the scroll button on the side. The content, we've discussed that, and as I've mentioned on the home page, your desired action is to draw the visitor in, to keep him as long as possible on your website. Now, I mean, that's in your interest, and also Google gives you the bonus points of a higher quality score, because the more you can keep him in on your website, the more you know that you can indoctrinate the person or the visitor. Whereas on a landing page, there's a single button. You give him a free product or digital asset to initiate a journey that you are going to undertake with a prospect, and hopefully he learns. It leads to a paying client for you. Now, the mechanics of the whole lead generation with this whole lead magnet funnel is you've got an offer, and it must be something worthwhile, and I'll get a little bit on the details of that now. The call to action, typically the button must stand out. Now, the way to do it is depending on the color scheme of your a website or what your company, you must choose a color opposite, and you use the color wheel typically to stand out. And then I must mention also here is that the wonderful thing about lead magnets and things is you can do A/B testing. It's almost like the world of science. That's why I like this whole digital marketing, because it's data that you can use and manipulate and understand and measure and test. So you can run two types of call to action buttons. For argument's sake, get it now or learn more. And you can test which button works better, for argument's sake. Then you've got also the forms, to capture forms. What I must mention here is do not have, on the first type, when you want to actually do it, don't have too many buttons or fields for the person to fill in. My personal view is ask for the name and the email address. You can later start getting the other details from the person, because if he has to fill in a form and you're asking what his grade 3 math teacher, what her name was, you're going to put him off, because if it's a long form, I'm sorry, for me, I personally just go off. If you say you're making it this difficult for me, I'm not interested in doing business with you, because remember, you're also trying to show a person it's easy to do business with you. Okay, and then of course your landing page, and I've discussed the details of what makes a landing page different. Now, just to some of the features of a landing page, it's very specific. You are trying to hone in on the challenge or pain point of your prospect. Don't be vague. You're not trying to solve all his problems. You want to solve a specific pain point, like how not to stuff up your valve specification in your plant next time. That's very specific. But don't meander off on how valves, the history of valves or whatever. You're very specific, dealing with a specific issue for your prospect. And if you make a claim or an offer, deliver on the offer, because else you're also going to be seen as dishonest by the prospect. As I've mentioned, focus on the end goal. Often with these lead magnets, the idea is immediate gratification. It mustn't be something that is like a 300-page book that the person has to read. So you avoid long courses and things like that. It's a short thing that you can do. And also the idea with the lead magnet is to shift the relationship from just person knowing about you, but I know about these people and they could maybe solve my problem, and I'll keep them in mind for any future problem I have that could help my problem, or I am really interested in them helping me now because I'm in pain now. So what you're trying to do is to take your relationship is one step further. And remember, this whole thing of the client journey, especially also in this field of industrial marketing, it's typically a long journey. So you can't expect the person to hear about you the first day and next day write out $1 million check. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have to convince the client that you are the person or the company that he needs to deal with. So that's why lead magnet is such a good thing, because it's a micro commitment. He's giving you his contact details. Now you can start nurturing him to tell him why you are the best company to solve his particular problem. A good guide is that sometimes that in your own mind, when you develop your lead magnets, consider that it must be so good that the client will be even willing to even pay for it, even if it's a small value. Willing to pay for it, as I said, and it's a rapid consumption. A good guideline is it must be consumed within about 5 minutes. Just as a guideline, it's not cast in stone, dependent on how big the pain point of the client is, what it does, how long it can take to be consumed, your digital asset that you're giving it. If you are interested in pursuing this further and so on, you can go to my website, www.mdme-inc.com, where the whole aim of this, what I'm doing, is to guide you to your next ideal client, next ideal opportunity or ideal job, even if it's on the other side of the planet. Thank you.